Please allow me to introduce myself. I am Mama Magic Gwentastic, and welcome to episode number 2 of the EDHREC, where we pit players against themselves in a battle of wits to see how much knowledge about useless and silly magic trivia they know. The rules are simple. We start each player with a deck of 30 cards, akin to what you may call points. They will try to protect their deck by answering questions to prevent getting milled or losing points. At the end, we'll see how well they protected their deck and see how many cards or points they have remaining. At the end, we'll place them on our leaderboard to determine who will reign supreme at the top of the EDHREC. Feel free to play along at home and see how well you do. And now, let me introduce this week's guest, Dana Roach, from both the EDHREC and CMDR Central podcasts. Welcome, Dana. Thank you for being here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It is finally kind of spring here in Wisconsin, so that just makes you feel better coming out of a long cold winter when I can go outside and it's sunny and it's like 55 degrees, closing in 60. It just feels good. So I'm in pretty good mood because of that today.
Oh, I totally agree. I was able to actually go outside without a jacket on for once today. It was nice. It was really, really nice. So enjoy the summer. I'm sure Wisconsin gets quite cold.
The winters are rough. I'm from Upper Michigan originally, which is even worse. So yeah, I don't miss the 6 feet of snow. Having it being in Wisconsin is much easier on my system for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, going from a snowy place to somewhere where they have snow lands, you run on two different Magic the Gathering podcasts. The EDHREC and CMDR Central, or do you call it Commander Central?
Both interchangeably, yeah.
Well, how did you get involved with both of these?
So, Commander Central is the show I was on originally. I don't even know how long we've been on now. 5-ish years, closing in on it. I think we're like at 300 and I think we recorded episode 311 this morning. Actually, that was a situation where a couple friends of mine here in town, we would the LGS we played Commander at every Tuesday night was right by where I worked, and there was like a little bar that served really good pizza right next door. So we would meet at this pizza joint and get a pizza and have a beer before we went to Commander night at the shop. So it was like a 100-step walk to the bar and like 10 steps to get to the LGS. So it was a really easy place to meet and then go play Commander afterwards. And of course, while we were there, drinking our beer, eating our pizza, we talked about Commander because like that's what we're doing next. And at some point, someone like, hey, we should, make this into a podcast because that's functionally what we're doing basically at this point in time. Like we're talking strategy and we're talking decks and we're talking cards. And really, there was Commander's Brew and there was Command Zone and I think Commander In, and I'm sure there was somebody else, but like literally the joke we made was, well, yeah, we have a pretty good chance of being the 4th best Commander podcast because there was 3 of them. So it's like, oh, hey, we'll make it. So we started recording just with a couple friends here in town, and it was coincidentally enough roughly the same time that the Commander Cookout guys up in Canada started recording, and the Legendary Creature folks out in Utah started recording. So they a handful of shows had the same idea roughly at the same time, like, well, we could be the 4th best show. So we started right around the same time. Of course,
we all know that you're number 1, right?
Right. and it's funny because we have like a rivalry / friendship with those guys too, because we all kind of started at the same time and are all still going. So it's been a really good experience. So that's where Commander Central started. And then because I was working on that show and I was involved in Commander and doing stuff, I'm like, well, what else could I do to also be involved in the community? So EDHREC, which is a resource I used a lot, was hiring writers. I'm like, well, I have an English lit degree. I can write. That's what my background is in. So I sent a sample article to Jason All to EDHREC, and they hired me as a writer. And then, at some point during my tenure there, they decided to start doing a show with EDHREC writers. So we tried out for that, and that's how Matt and Joey and I wound up together on the EDHREC cast.
Yeah, you guys seem to have a lot of fun together. One thing I noticed is that you love your puns on that show, and you certainly feel like a family. And I'm like, this is one pumpkin family.
Yes, that's a funny way to say it, for sure. Yeah, for that particular show, it helped in Commander Central because we were already friends. So like we knew each other. On EDHREC cast, we actually kind of did a American Idol kind of like contest, basically almost among a bunch of writers, where like we did a dozen or so like sample shows where we mixed and matched different writers trying to see who had who had good chemistry, whatever. And it just wound up that Matt and Joey and I worked really well together.
Yeah,
because we didn't actually meet in person until we had done almost 100 shows.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that was it. Just worked out that we all, and at that point we're like best friends because we've been recording together weekly and stuff for over a year when we finally got to meet face to face.
So because you decided to film a podcast and that, you played Magic obviously and were highly involved in playing the game. When did you get started with it?
I started playing like back in revised days when I was in high school. So I'm older than the average Magic player.
Yep, me as well.
I had a friend who was a year older than me who went off to college and came back that following summer with Magic cards. So he had Antiquities cards, Arabian Nights cards, some unlimited stuff, and Revised had been out for a few months, and Legends was about to come out. So he like got me and a couple of our friends hooked onto Magic. So I played all that summer through most of the following year, I think up through Ice Age. And then a bunch of my cards, basically my whole collection, got stolen.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, so it was, and then I'm done. I'm like, I'm just not going to rebuild. I don't want to buy all this stuff. And then I'm in college too. So like I got a lot going on anyway. So I just stopped and returned to Ravnica, rolls around 15-ish years later or so. And I had a coworker who was playing Magic. And he kept trying to get me to come back and play, and I kept putting him off. And I think Duel of the Planeswalkers was the game you could play on iPhone or iPad. And I just decided that roughly the same time that I would try Duel of the Planeswalkers. I wanted a tablet game that was easy. So I started playing Magic there. And then I'm like, well, I can play with my friend from work. So I talked to him, and he's like, return to Ravnica because this new set, you should buy a few packs. I bought a few packs. And I found out with the Commander version, and it just went downhill from there. So I just got sucked in almost immediately again. Yep.
Now, you mostly play Commander, I assume.
I do,
play any other formats?
I play a little bit of Modern, very little, and I tend to go to pre-releases and play Limited in that way. I just don't have time. Like I play a lot of Commander, do a lot of Commander stuff. So between that and having a full-time job and being a dad and just living life in general, I just don't have time to play another format the way I want to play it. I play a little bit of Modern, and even then I play Boggles, which doesn't really require you to know anything. Like I can play that Boggles deck and like not have to care what my opponent's doing because I really can't interact with it anyway, and they can interact with me. So it's a good deck to play in Modern if you don't really have the time to know what your opponent's going to be doing. So that's the big thing that holds me back. I would play more formats if I was somebody who had time to play more formats, but I just don't.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Commander?
It's one of those things. What's your favorite song? It probably depends on mood and those kind of things. I would say my go-to favorite deck is my Bliss of the Trader deck. It's an all Death Touch deck, so it's built around that mechanic. And it's my oldest surviving Commander deck. It's one of the first ones I put together when I first started playing. And it's survived this long. So that is still a deck that I have that I enjoy, and it's also like has some nostalgic hooks in it for me. Recently I built a Silumgar the Drifting Death Dragon tribal deck, which is Dimir dragons, which is fun because there's a pretty limited scope of Dimir dragons, so that gives me something interesting to try to figure out how to do in Dimir. And the other one that stands out that I would mention is my Veil of the Nightclad deck, and I think the reason that one is a favorite is that was the first deck that really did the thing I try to do in Commander, which is take a commander that doesn't see much play and then also try to find a unique way to play it. So I built a Vela artifact deck. Again, I'm in Dimir. Dimir traditionally isn't doing artifact things for the most part. So I'm running a Veiled Nightclad artifact deck based on artifact creatures swinging through with Intimidate and various different artifact synergies to kind of pull out wins that way. So that one is also a favorite too, because that was kind of when I finally figured out what kind of EDH player I wanted to be. That was a deck I built.
Well, keep that in mind for the show.
Okay, all right.
Anyways, we're probably gonna get started now on some games. We have 6 lined up today. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Well, let's get started. We got our first game today, which is called Did I Say That? Now, some cards have multiple printings with different flavor text. I'm going to read you 6 different flavor texts, all from the same card, but from different printings. It's going to be your job to determine if it is a real card or a made-up one that I made up. Each wrong answer is going to mill you 1 card. Remember, you start with 30 cards. Today's card is Disenchant, but a quick reminder of what Disenchant does. Disenchant is an instant for 1 and a white and says destroy target artifact or enchantment. All right, let's get started. Our first flavor text is throw away your trinkets of magic, for they will only corrupt you, or I will see to it for you. Serene, Relic Bane, Solvetti Heretic. Is this an actual text or made up text?
The text doesn't ring a bell, but the name does, so I'm gonna go with that's real.
I actually made this one up.
Nice.
I stole the name from a different card.
Okay, all right.
Yes, you gotta keep an eye out for that. Well, it's plenty of time to do better.
All right, yeah, all right. Even Lowry even missed a couple, so.
Yes, Lowry missed quite a few. All right, flavor text number 2. Where the holy light of angels has shone, only purity remains. Is this actual or made up? Where the holy light of the angels has shone, only purity remains.
I think that's made up.
That one's actually an actual text.
All right. I'm ready now. Let's get into it.
Hey, it's all about fun. We're gonna go to flavor text number 3. Turvish forgot that he was even holding an amulet, and we looked down. He wondered why his fist was full of dust. Let me repeat that. Turvish forgot that he was even holding an amulet, and when he looked down, he wondered why his fist was full of dust.
It looks like actual text, but I feel like I've been wrong every time, so I should fight against my instinct, but I'm gonna go with actual text.
Should have gone with your gut feeling. It is made up. Oh. All right, we're gonna go into number 4. The tools of evil are mere things, and like all things, they cannot last forever. From Song of All, Canto 881.
I'm gonna go with actual text on that one.
You're gonna go with actual text? You sure about that one? You've been wrong before.
I have been, but I'll go with it.
But you are right. It is finally actual text.
Excellent.
All right. Number 5. From legend it was forged, and to legend it returns.
I think that's made up.
That one is an actual text.
Okay. This is what I get for not reading comments, not reading the flavor text on comments.
There's so many interesting flavor texts, and I
Sure.
don't read them all.
Yeah.
And then every now and then you run across one, and it's like, hey, that's interesting. But it's okay. It's okay. And our last flavor text for Disenchant is the scepter of power is fragile in a calloused hand. Cho Aram saying. Scepter of power is fragile in a calloused hand.
My guess is actual text again.
Good job.
All right.
Good job. Well, not the best game, but that's okay.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse. Well, now we're going to go to a fun thinking game. This is Mama's Mashups, where you have to say silly card names. I'm going to describe two different cards in detail. You're going to need to mash the two cards into one. For example, if I describe the card for Wilderness Reclamation and Reclamation Sage, you would answer Wilderness Reclamation Sage. They share a phrase or syllable in common. In this case, reclamation, wilderness, reclamation, sage. I'm going to offer you up to 4 clues by milling a card each. The first of the 2 clues will give you the card image, and the next clues will just straight up give you the card name. Then lastly, you need to combine them to save the last from milling one more card. We're going to start with mashup number 1, which is a 4/4 legendary creature god. It has a casting cost of 4, blue and red. It has flying, and whenever you draw a card, create a 1/1 blue and red insect creature token with flying and haste. It is the activated ability, draw a card, then discard a card. The activated ability does cost 2 blue and red. And when this creature dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. The second card that we're going to mash together is an 8/8 beast. It has a casting cost of 4 red, green, green, white. It has vigilance and the activated ability tap, put an 8/8 beast creature token into play that is red, green, and white. Mash these 2 cards together.
So these are cards I've definitely played against. So I believe we have the Locust Godsire.
You got that one correct on the first try.
Nice.
The Locust Godsire. Now, if that was an actual card, I wonder
that
what
would be a
is.
serious Magic card for sure.
All right, that was awesome. Kind of blew the first game away. Let's not even worry.
I'm warmed up now. I'm ready to go.
All right, mashup number 2. We have a 7/7 demon. It has a casting cost of 4, black, black, black. It has flying and trample, and during your upkeep, sacrifice a creature other than this creature itself. If you cannot, this creature will deal 7 damage to you. The second card is a 1/4 human pirate that costs 3 and a black. It has, whenever another creature you control dies, create a colorless treasure artifact token. Smash these 2 together.
We have Lord of the Pitiless Plunderer here, I believe.
Lord of the Pitiless Plunderer. Wonderful. That was flawless. Absolutely flawless. I like that one. That one cracked me up. Lord of
the Pit was a chase card back in the day. At least it was for me when I was a kid. I wanted that
card. Love that card. I used to combine it with Breeding Pool back in the day.
Yeah.
Which would create a little thrall every turn. All right, now we're going to go to a silly game called Background Checks. Now, sometimes we don't pay attention to all the detail of the artwork of a card. Let's see how well you remember what's going on in the background of the selected card arts. I'll tell you a card and give you 3 possible art descriptions. All you need to do is tell me which one is true. Each wrong answer will mill you 1 card. Our first card is Quagmire from the set Legends. Now, you said you started with Revised and Legends, so you might have seen this card.
I have.
Is the actual artwork a man sinking in a bog dancing to Michael Jackson's Thriller? Is it B, the close-up of a man's hand sticking out of the bog giving it a thumbs up? Or is it C, a light blue and purple striped fairy-like creature with a giant head, grinning wide mouth, and tiny black eyes that's holding a stick in front of another fairy-like creature whose its head stuck in the bog? So, is it A, the Thriller dance, B, thumbs up, or C, the one dumb fairy-like creature trying to help the other out of the bog Who has its head stuck in it?
I've seen the card Quagmire, but none of those are ringing a bell here for me. All right, and I have to give a guess here, right?
Well, we probably do need to continue the game. So, yeah.
All right, I am going to go with C. C sounds familiar, but not on Quagmire. I'm going to go with A.
The Michael Jackson dance?
Yeah, I mean, I could see the guy.
Well, if you get it right, are you going to do a Michael Jackson Thriller dance with me?
I don't know
because
if
it is correct.
Excellent.
Yes.
There, yeah, okay. It seemed I could kind of picture it a little bit. There we go. All right.
Oh, I don't know. I saw this card and I'm like, I don't think that's the original intention.
Yes, I would guess not.
That's the thing that comes to mind.
He's got a pretty sweet mullet going on in that art too. I like that.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Well, I just failed background checks.
There you go.
All right. Let's go to card number 2, which is Wispmare, the artwork from Lorwyn. Is the artwork A, flying spirit, of a scared ladybug with a horse's head that is being chased by flying piranha spirits? Is it B, the flying spirit of a buff horse with gorilla arms for front legs and a snake for a tail? Or C, the flying spirit of a 3-headed seahorse with crab legs? So we have a scared ladybug with a horse head being chased by piranhas. Is it B, a buff horse with gorilla arms and a snake tail, or a 3-headed seahorse with crab legs?
The crab legs and the seahorse part don't ring a bell, but I'm fairly certain Wispmare has 3 heads. And none of the other ones are indicating 3 heads, so I'm going to go with C here.
Perfect game.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I can see the crab legs. Yeah, there we go. I missed all of that, but I remember the 3 heads.
Well, that's a background check for you. Nicely done. Nicely done. That was 2 perfect games in a row. Can we make it 3? Right. Now we're going to go into limerick time now. So I'm just going to read you some magic-related limericks. Just complete the limericks to win. Each romancer is going to mill you 2 cards. We're going to start with Mishra and Urza were quite trouble, making artifacts on the double. One does a hand check, the other your deck. Next turn, I draw off my
Bauble.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
I play both Mishra's and Urza's Bauble in a Maglis the Trader deck.
Oh, very interesting. Wow, you use them both. Do you have a lot of the 0 casting cost?
Just because I can, the way Glissa works, when a creature my opponent's control dies, I can bring an artifact back. So it's basically all I care about is the draw card. And I play for nothing and draw a card, and yeah.
Well, I had no idea, but that was really convenient that you knew that answer because it related to one of your favorite.
There we go. Yeah.
We're going to go to our next limerick. I don't plan to negotiate. I know this plan will get some hate. Add color to fear. Artifacts won't clear. I attacked with.
Plan to negotiate.
Yeah, I don't plan to negotiate. I know this plan will get some hate. Add color to fear. Artifacts won't clear. I attacked with.
Oh boy.
Ooh, we're gonna break the streak. Oh no.
Yeah, I think I'm going to. Give me 1 second. I'm drawing a blank on this one.
Oh, you're gonna throw in the towel?
I attacked with Intimidate.
Intimidate. That's why I said at the beginning, Remember what you're saying.
The fear triggered me. It took me a second, but like that was a connection there. Artifacts won't quit. There we go. Yeah.
Yes. So that's describes intimidate. And your Vela the Nightclad, you happen to mention intimidate. And as soon as you said that at the beginning, I'm like, oh no, he's gonna get this one.
That's the one I almost missed, too. Yeah, ironic.
The strange thing is, I did not know that. And I created 2 limericks that perfectly match
there you go, yeah.
both of your commander decks.
Yep.
Wow. That's a win for me.
Yes, yeah. Good planning.
All right, we're gonna go into a game called Who Say What? Just simply tell me who said the given quote. Each wrong answer is going to mill you 1 card. Today's quotes come compliment from either Urza or Mishra.
So it'll be something awful. So I have to figure out which awful person said the thing.
Which awful person said the thing, exactly. So our first awful person said this. This is a battle of pawns for the highest stakes imaginable. Was that Urza or Mishra?
I feel like Urza talked more about strategy, although that could definitely be a Mishra quote in terms of ethics, but I'm going to go with Urza on that one.
It was, in fact, Urza.
Okay.
It came from the card Searing Rays. Our second quote is, every device in the rig is evidence of Thran enlightenment. All mana was the same to them, whether from rock or water, growth or decay. Can you imagine such unity of vision? Every device in the rig is evidence of Thran enlightenment. All mana was the same to them, whether from rock or water, growth or decay. Can you imagine such unity of vision?
Is that Mishra? I remember that off like a Mishra's war rig or war machine or something. So I'm gonna go with Mishra there.
No, unfortunately,
Urza again. Okay.
That one was Urza. It's from the card
Thran Lens.
Lens.
All right.
Quote number 3. After 4,000 years, after 4,000 years, you learn to plan for betrayal.
I'm gonna go with Mishra here again.
Oh, this one was Urza again.
Dark Suspicions.
Again.
Nice.
Dark Suspicions. Yes, that is our friend that made his first appearance in Commander Legends.
Tavish Zat?
Tavish Zat. All right, quote number 4. If you can't catch them, cut the trees down from beneath them. Force them to fight on our terms.
I think that's Urza again, because he would have been one talking about. I think that's Urza.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to mill you.
Mishra again?
That's Mishra. No, I wouldn't say Mishra again. The first 3 were Urza.
Okay, yeah.
All right, that's
Rough.
from a card called Treetop Rangers. Quote number 5. The solution can hide for only so long. The solution can hide for only so long.
I'm gonna go with Urza. I don't remember anything where Mishra be looking for a solution, so I'm gonna go with Urza.
It is in fact Urza. Good job. That's from Attunement. And let's see if you're gonna laugh at the next quote. But who wants pancakes?
I don't recall either of them saying that.
Well, someone wanted pancakes. They were hungry. Question is, did they want sprinkles? Did they want banana in their pancakes? Blueberries? Who wants pancakes?
Is that off an uncard, perhaps? Who wants pancakes? You know what? I've been Urza. So I've been a lot of Urza, so I'll go with Urza again.
It is Urza, Spatula of the Ages.
And it was indeed an uncard. All right.
An unset, yes, unglued. Urza. The full quote is, at last, Urza's powers were focused through the incredible artifact. Who wants pancakes? He asked. All right, and now we're going to head to our final game for the evening. What are the rules anyway? So some official rules on the Gatherer are just strange. Can you tell the difference between an official rule versus a fake rule? Each wrong answer will mill you 1 card.
Okay.
So our first card is Cruel Entertainment. It's a sorcery that costs 6 and a black. It has an ability. It says, choose target player and another target player. The first player controls the second player during the second player's next turn, and the second player controls the first player during the first player's next turn. Try to say that 10 times fast. Do the official rules say A, you are not required to ask your opponent, are you not entertained? But it's highly recommended. Is the rule B, Cruel Entertainment's controller may be one of its targets, even if it's less entertaining this way? Or C, there is no weird rule for this card.
So there are fairly frequently random, like, snarky asides in the rules for sure. This one might not have one. I'm gonna go with B in this case. I'm gonna guess B. Cruel Entertainment's control maybe one of its targets, even if it's less entertaining this way.
That is correct. That is correct. All right. Now we're going to go into Giant Shark. So Giant Shark is a shark that is a 4/4 for 5 and a blue. The errated text is Giant Shark can't attack unless defending player controls an island. Whenever Giant Shark blocks or becomes blocked by a creature that has been dealt damage this turn, Giant Shark gets +2/+0 and gains trample until the end of turn. When you control no islands, sacrifice Giant Shark. So, do the rules say it was a shark, then a fish? Now it's a shark again. I've never met a fish with such a personality disorder. Is it B, dun dun, or C, there is no weird rule for this card?
I'm gonna go with C on this one. I feel like it's not unique or weird enough to get a joke comment maybe, and it's also pretty old. I'm gonna go with C.
I did not fool you at all. I did not fool you all. You got through that one. Giant Shark. Though it would be pretty awesome if they did add dun dun.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be.
Yes. But they did a whole bunch of different erratas, and there was a point where they changed sharks to fish and then fish back to sharks, and
it's a mess. Yeah.
And now a personal favorite of mine, because it's one of my commanders, Thantis, the War Weaver. She is a 5/5 legendary spider with a casting cost 3 black, red, and green. She has vigilance and reach, and the ability all creatures attack each combat if able. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, put a +1/+1 counter on Thantis, the War Weaver. Does the official rule say A, you can't attack yourself or your own planeswalker to give Thantis a +1/+1 counter, to give it +1/+1 counters, but Thantis appreciates the way you think? Does it say B, she's not quite so itsy bitsy anymore, or C, there is no weird rule for this card?
Okay. I'm torn. I think I'm gonna go with C in this case, although I could see it being. She's not so itsy bitsy anymore. Seems a little too random, and there's been a few other legendary spiders before this they could have used the same text on. And people generally know you can't attack yourself. I feel like that's not one that needs to be in there, even just for the jokey comment. I'm gonna go with C here.
Oh, I'm gonna have to
It is A, okay.
Final card. It is A. You can't attack yourself or your own planeswalkers if Thantis +1/+1 counters, but Thantis appreciates the way you think. Now, I do love this because I play a Thantis Defender deck.
Oh, nice.
Yes, Defender Tribal. Well, you did amazing. I had some perfect games. Very impressive.
Thank you. That was fun.
Oh, you're welcome. You have 22 cards remaining. Not
Excellent.
too shabby at all. That puts you at the top of the leaderboard.
Take that, Lowry.
Well, I want to thank you again, Dana, for joining us. Once again, if people want to find you on EDHREC or Commander Central, how can they go about finding you on either those podcasts or your own social platforms?
You can find me personally. I'm on Twitter quite a bit, just at Dana Roach. EDHREC Cast comes out on both podcast form and video form on YouTube Fridays around noon-ish. And Commander Central comes out every Monday morning. So I'm very easy to find on whatever podcast app you use for listening to stuff. We are there on almost all of them.
Oh, absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And I look forward to hearing your shows when they come out. Now, thank you once again to all the listeners for joining us today. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know how well you did. Did you beat today's guest? Do you have any fun, silly comments or suggestions for me? Now, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps me out a lot. Once again, I am Mama Magic Gwentastic, and this has been the EDHREC. And as always, be happy, be true, be you. Thank you. Bye.